Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another Bold Biz Chats. I love my show because, not just because it's my show, but I love my show because I get to showcase some stunning, beautiful, inside out, beautiful women CEOs. And my guest today, she had reached out to me and sought me out on social media, the beauty of social media. And we connected, and my beautiful guest Abha is all the way over in India, and she is. I'm really excited to honor her today. She did the same for me on her show. Now it gets to be my turn, and this woman has pioneered, paved the way, done a lot of things over there. So. Before I bring her out, real quickly, we are broadcasting live at boldradiostation.com. Gosh, thanks to the team at Bold Radio Station. They do everything to get these shows up and out the door. I have huge respect for them. And it's just another good old summer day here in Michigan. Yay, finally, winter's gone. But with that being said, I'm Kim Boudreaux-Smith. You can track me down over at boldradiostation.com or at kimb.smith.com. And enough of that. Let's bring Abha out. Abha, come on out. Thank you so much for being here at Bold Radio Station today on my show. I'm so appreciative.
Thank you, Kim. Good morning to you. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm listening to you. I'm looking forward to this chat, and this is going to be fun.
Yes, it is. So before we jump right on in, Abha, could you just please share with the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yes, sure, Kim. First of all, I have to say a quick thank you to you, and all the stuff that you're doing is amazing, and it inspires a lot of people like myself to do a lot more. About myself, I'm born and raised in India, and I'm India's first. I've been named India's first internationally acclaimed woman motivational speaker. By default, I started the whole motivation and this personal development industry kind of thing over there. Because when I set out to do this, I was a lawyer before that, and I have practiced law for 10 years. And then I said, I'm not cut out for this. This is not who I am. And my main core purpose and calling was in people building. However, there was nothing that was available in India at that point of time to learn from or educate yourself with. So I kept moving around to see where I could go, and I landed up in Singapore, and then I landed up in other parts of Asia to learn. And that's what made me do these things. So that's what I do. And eventually I have been working in this field for the last 10 years. I'm one of the key speakers in the Asia Pacific region on leadership and peak performance. I do a lot of other things in terms of, I've recently authored a book called Nucleus Power Women Lead from the Core. It's slated as one of the first thought leadership books out of Asia for women. Also, I do stuff on television. I do things on radio. You appeared on my show. It's called Breakout. The idea behind that show is to be able to get people like yourself to tell other people how to break out of limitations and break into stuff that they like to do. So that's my background.
You know, Abha, your background, first of all, like I said, you're very impressive. I'm in awe. So let's start with, what did you do? Just wake up one day and, being a lawyer, takes extra education, certifications, all that great stuff. And
Right.
Did you just wake up one day and say, okay, yes, I'm practicing law, and after all my education here, I'm out of sorts. I just don't feel right. And how did you make that transition?
Kim, you know what happened when I was 17? This goes back to very early in life, like I was 16 or 17 years of age, and I could figure at that point of time what is it that I wanted to do. So it was about people, it was about people building, it was about social. I did not know. It was very loose, very, very scattered, and I couldn't sort of put my finger on what I really wanted to, but that's where it needed to be. So when I started out law, I come from a generation where being a lawyer lawyer, doctor, engineer was the stuff that was that was the only stuff available to us at that point of time to do. So I did go through my law degree, and I'm a postgraduate. I've done professional degrees, and I was practicing law because I felt, because as a lawyer you get an opportunity to delve into things which usually other people probably do not get to do that. And you do get an opportunity to go social. So I picked up law as a choice first, and I was doing extremely well until one day I was just sitting around there and said, this is not this is not what I thought I would be doing, because the law, as it sounds as a profession, and as noble as it sounds, it's very different when you go on the ground to work in it. And I came to a point in my career at that point of time where I was doing extremely well as a lawyer. However, internally, inside myself, I felt that this is not it. And then a couple of things happened around that time in my family that sort of made me rethink my place as a lawyer, and what I was doing. Was I really happy doing it? And I was feeling dissatisfied. I was not happy with what was going on. I would be frustrated with stuff, and then one day I just had to sit back and say, okay, what's going on? Sorry, this is not it. But I still did not know what was next. And when I sort of broke to my family and people around me, that listen, I don't think this is where I feel very great about myself. This is not me. I'm not cut out for this. I can't lie very well. I'm not a drama queen. I don't do all those fancy things. I'm like a very hardworking woman. So I put all my heart and soul into it. But it turns out to be something totally different. It's about other things. Law was not just being a great lawyer then. And they said, what's wrong? I mean, are you out of your mind? Have you lost it? Are you crazy? And then eventually, when I said, no, I've decided I'm not going to do this anymore. What I'm going to do next is not known as yet. I'm sorry. I'll figure it. And they went on into a rant for weeks and months that you're an idiot who gives up 10 years of this and that. But, somewhere inside myself, that little voice that said, no, you're doing something else. And the core calling was around people. That you have, I believe, and I have had the great fortune of having some gifts that I have used over the years in my life, and they've worked very well for me. And I said, I want to use those gifts out to do what I really wanted to do. And my opportunity was not in law. And that's when I quit without knowing where else and where to, with a lot of cynicism, a lot of criticism, and a lot of people calling me mad. And it's sort of got me into a little bit of, I did get confused at that point of time. I was even scared. I said, am I doing the right thing? But inside myself, that little voice said, no, this is not where you are. We'll tell you where you're supposed to go. And that's when I said, okay, let's see. And I moved out to re-educate myself at the age of 34, and went back to school. Went back to study all this stuff that I'm doing now. It took me a couple of years to sort of study and self-study and put a lot of stuff together. And then I took my knowledge from law and put this together. And I think I'm doing better over here. So I'm just happier that I'm here, and I feel I'm in the right place now.
It's amazing. And, and it's not that you were crazy and you were quitting anything, because what you were doing of 10 years of law, you were springboarding. I always like to say, Abha, we're springboarding off of that. I don't even like using the word reinventing, because it almost is like we're going back to, the day that we're born, and we're like starting over that way. And it wasn't even the fact that you were reinventing. You were just springboarding and leaping off of that, because I feel this is my mentality. I feel the universe delivers on what it is that we are asking for. And
Right.
I think that platform of law, practicing law, was a place you were supposed to be at that time. And it also helped you, like I said, leap into where you are now. But let's get in here a little bit deeper here, because, but you and I mean, we're very savvy, strong, driven women. And, we don't, like I said, we don't quit, but we may springboard off to go make something better, or maybe take 3 steps back to go 10 forward is my analogies. And, there's so many women out there, and I'm going to pick on our gender because I work a lot with women that still cannot lead. They don't know how to run a business. They're trying to be something that they are not, when they have a whole slew of resources, so to speak, just on Google right there, not to mention, oh my God, Facebook. And if you don't want to get on Facebook, you can go over to Twitter or seek out someone like yourself over on LinkedIn. And I just don't understand all this stuff that is holding women back when this pivotal paradigm shift that we're in the process are waiting for women to step up. They're calling for women to step up. And it's not always pretty. It's like yourself. You heard from family. Oh my God, you're nuts. You're crazy. And then you hear your little voice, which we all have that little voice. Okay, that self-doubt for a minute. Are we doing the right thing here? What what is going on? Oh no. My intuition, my heart is telling us where we have to go. So how can we get more women to own into themselves, so to speak, and really lead in their lane of what they want to lead and to be their desired success?
Kim, in my experience, and whatever I shared my experience earlier of how I have always followed my heart. I've always made sure that I'm not lying to myself. That's one of the key things that I always tell people. And in my book, the book is called Nucleus Power: Women Lead from the Core. And I've used the word core primarily for the reason, for the question that you just put out here, that as women, we have been distanced from who we are as people, thanks to decades of training, decades of social expectation, decades of, a version of woman that is supposed to be sitting out there and saying, oh, this is probably the best perfect woman. And that's not true, because that kind of a woman does not exist. However, it does affect women's minds. And I have been all across this region, all across Asia Pacific. I've now traveled to the West and met a lot of women over there as well. Why are we still stuck in the same place is a big question that I have also asked. And I also tell a lot of women that it's time to go into yourself. And it starts from not just leading outside, but first you have to lead yourself as a person. That's where we are still stuck. A lot of women are not even aware fully. It's not that they're not capable, but they are not fully aware of who they are as people and what are their strengths, where are they playing from? And they play from places which only disempower them. So if you were playing from a social expectation, I have very serious doubts that you'll be doing something really great. I mean, I don't think there is a steady social expectation. It changes every day. So what does that do to a person? It makes you a kind of bipolar, schizophrenic person who doesn't know what to do this moment and the next moment. So think of the traditional way of cultural living in places where women are supposed to be a certain way. Now, I come from India. We are now very much more educated than we ever were. However, our traditions and cultures still expect women to be a certain way. They treat women in a certain way. Some of it is good. Some of it is pure protection. But some of it is like a heinous crime. It's against human living. So sometimes I always feel that it's your own awareness. And I would really, really sort of urge through your show and the women who are listening just now, please go back into yourself and ask yourself this question. The resources are there. And the best and the biggest resource that you ever will have is yourself, your inner being. Go and ask yourself what you really want to do. What is it that you're good at? What is it that you want to go out and tell the world? You stand up for that. It may be a little intimidating in the beginning. You might find it overwhelming because a lot of people don't come down, accepting you or approving you or giving you a lot of appreciation. And when I quit law, whenever everybody told me you were stupid, and I said, I'm going to see you after 5 years. I didn't say a single word more than that. I said, I'm going to see you after 5 years and we talk later. And this is way back in the year 2000, 2001. And by 2006, I was out there speaking on all Asia's platforms and doing doing stuff that I thought would make me go towards my goal of people building, and to then expand it in various ways that I did. So my request and my humble sort of urge to all the women who are listening over here, please, please, do not give yourself away. Don't shortchange yourself for stuff that doesn't serve you. It serves somebody else. It serves society. It serves other people. Bring yourself back to your core, your core, maybe your person, people who are around you, the key people. Forget about the rest for a while. Give yourself 6 months to go through this whole process, and then get out there as the person that you really, really think you are and you want to be. And believe me, it works best. The rest of it fades.
I so agree with you. And here's the other point that I just recently, a couple months ago, spoke in Rochester, New York, and the station was a media sponsor. And I grabbed my colleague partner, and she's also a friend who was hosting this event. It was on a Thursday. It was an all-day event. It was absolutely beautiful. And you know what I love about women? It was we come together like this, and we smile, we laugh, we connect immediately. But when everyone leaves, that warm fuzziness goes away. So my thing is, so here's what I said to my friend, and I said, here's what kind of events we need. We need for women to show up. Forget about the makeup. Maybe we come in our sweats. Let's get, excuse me, no pun intended, let's get down and dirty, and let's talk about when we make a transition like this or wake up and want to implement our dream. And the kind of money it takes. We don't talk about this stuff. I see so many women going, I'm broke. I've put money, I've done. And the other thing out there, Abha, is women walk around and talk about how they're heart centered. Well, first of all, our heart is not completely centered in our body. It's over to the side there a little bit. Number one. Number two, they're quitting. Number three, they say they have integrity. They're lacking integrity. They don't stand in their word and into their commitment. And and I truly believe that the platform of social media has allowed people to become even more irresponsible and not lead. And women are still, to this day, dragging their personal baggage into business, which is, to me personally, that is a lose-lose situation. That's a very difficult thing to even come close to a win together, a win-win, because you can't do that when women are bringing in, oh, my husband's this, oh, my kids are this, oh, my dog is, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. I'm to a point in my life I don't even know how to respond to that stuff anymore. Maybe I should get some humor and just say, hey, peanut butter and jelly and a butter knife and 2 pieces of bread. Come on, so I come back around how dynamic you are, how beautiful from the inside out that you are. And I really don't know you that well, and we've connected very well. It's here we have you, a beautiful woman who is stepping into leadership. And for the lack of better words, Abha, you're stepping into your big girl pants. It is a real cliche comment, but and putting the oxygen mask on first. Ladies, that's how we have to do this. And then start strategizing and planning to get processes set up in place. And you've got to have money behind you to launch a business. It takes money, and don't expect in 90 days to be pulling 6-figure out of a business. It takes time. I mean, rule of thumb is 2-3 years before we can start paying ourselves. If we're that diligent, so I watch these women, like you said, they still show up, they give themselves away, they give everything away. And then a year later, like, I quit, I'm exhausted, I can't do this. It's like, well, stop giving yourself away. Be that leader that you so desire. Be that leader.
Right. Absolutely. And I also think in business, especially, because I get to compare the East and the West, and because I work in both the places, I meet a lot of women all over the world. What's the right word for that? I feel miserable sometimes when I see this because there are rules to the game everywhere. And I'm not saying we play by the same rules, but we can always make new rules. However, I think we need to be playfield ready. this is where we're going wrong. And like you said, when women come, they show up, they do this, and then we have to go move from a place of personal leadership. That's the step one, to other places to lead. And which is where I think when we show up, it's halfway through. We are shortchanging our own strengths, and we are not playfield ready at this point of time, because I think women are going to have babies, and that's a good thing. Women are going to have families. That's a good thing. However, how much is the playfield ready to take that from you? And if not, what is it that you can do to manage that and manage well, so you turn out to be the perfect person for that place? So these are like dynamics that are playing at the moment all over the world, and they just fall short in terms of, okay, this is where I can get to. This is enough. I mean, more than this, oh my God, I'll have to do, like you just said, oh my God, I got to do this. Okay, just let it go. Now I can't keep up with it, or whatever. And that's where we are going. Like we put in the effort, we just step back one more time, and then again we go back again, and we try something else. So I don't think, as far as women are concerned, that huge commitment that is needed for anything to succeed or to work in its best way possible is it can happen without a commitment. So the commitment requires you to figure the things in the background, and I don't mean give them up. I don't mean leave them. I don't mean forget your children. I don't mean don't talk to your husband. I don't mean any of those things. Now that's the smarts that you got to show in your head, in your heart, and in your emotion, in the way you conduct yourself. How do you manage that well in such a way that you can manage to do what's outside in terms of work or business, and keep your commitment strong and keep yourself going?
You have to keep your commitment strong and keep yourself going, especially when you're surrounded by a husband or parents, a family that is saying, you've lost your mind, you're nuts, you're crazy, you've wasted all this time and money on this phenomenal education, you're insane, and people start rolling their eyes at you and go, come on, when are you going to grow up and get serious? All that stuff, especially when we have it coming from a husband. We come home, we look to that support. Not all husbands, not all partners are supporting like that. And it's, how do you stay strong in your leadership? How do you allow yourself to cry, and who do you turn to for the others for that support? And see, I think in being a solo entrepreneur and being and working out of our homes, which I absolutely love, we need a collaborative camaraderie, a village of like-minded women to come together, not to judge us, to allow us to shed some tears, to allow us to say, yes, I've been there, to allow us to, to hold us and then help lift us up, as opposed to kick us down because of that nasty competition C word that we still have going on out there, Abha. It's just, it's not competition. This is about collaboration. This is about collectiveness and coming together. And everybody is going to have a different definition of success, a different definition of leadership, a different definition, but it's not looking at the white picket fence and comparing, Kim comparing to what Abha is doing. You've been at it a lot longer than I have. I wouldn't even compare. I'm not you. You're not.
I completely agree with that one, because this is the way we have lived all our lives. There is so much bad competition out there. And yeah. I personally, I have, like I promised to myself, I tell my teams here, no competition. We're not competing with each other. We're here to support and complement each other. Stop. But that needs a level of maturity and understanding that, there is no need for competition. We are here to complement each other. And thankfully now across the world, we see a rise in groups and networks and people supporting each other. But inside them, I still see there's this, the same concept has begun in terms of, instead of this whole market driven thing is going on. It's again turned into a business. Collaboration for business is one, but collaboration just for collaboration is a totally different thing. So I think the time has come for us to realize that we need a lot more women out there to help each other. It's all right, because if we live, you talked about the universe in the beginning. whatever we ask for, and we don't have to get worried about what's coming and what's not, and who's competing and who's taking it away. I think we are here as givers. It's like, if I can just put it simply, there is an element of giving in everything that we are supposed to do, and we are doing all our lives. And if we could make this giving minus the competition, minus the take for a while, let the take or the results come in a little bit later. We are here to support each other. We should support each other. And I completely agree with you on that one also, that we need to sort of get together, let each other cry, share what's going on, forget saving faces, forget about, who's better and who's worse, forget about hiding stuff. But let's get into a space of confession, where we can share with each other and understand. Because when I do my coaching and speaking, I'll tell you, Kim, most women are going through the same problems. It's only when you prompt them to speak then it comes up that, this one. So I was in a room a couple of months ago in India, over 500 people, and when we started talking to them, and I said, okay, now speak, and almost half the room got up to say I have the same problem. So I said, this is the problem, because we don't talk about it. We don't want to talk to each other. We don't know where to ask and who to ask. So luckily for social media, either we can use it well or we can use it badly. So if we were to use it well, I think there's a lot of information out there for people to pick on. Like, we connected on social media. I see your radio shows over there. I'm sure you've seen what I do. So people can learn a lot of stuff from there. There's a lot of resource sitting over there. Let's get together. We need a critical mass out there. We need that friendship. We need support. We need mentorship. Like you said, we need camaraderie. We need to be holding each other's hands without a lot of expectation here, because as people support, I mean, some will stay, some will go, like anywhere else in the world, in any business, any family. It's the same thing that happens everywhere. So let's forget about that. And for a moment, let's create a critical mass of people, of women out there saying, fine, it's possible for all of us. Let's see how we can help each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I got to, before we move on with a couple more questions here, Abha, could you just let everybody know how they can get in touch with you, please?
Yes, Kim, my website is www.abhamb.com. That is ABHA, M for mama, B for baby.com, abhamb.com. That is my website. The other website is breakoutwithabha.tv. That is breakout as in BREAKOUT, WITH with Abha. So abha.tv. So I forgot my own website. Okay. Breakoutwithabha.tv. If you can't find me anywhere, just Google Abha Banerjee. You'll find me there. So my website comes up over there. So it's ABHA as my first name, BANERJEE as my second name. So Abha Banerjee, or otherwise type in Abha India Motivational Speaker. You'll find me there.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Everybody, please track Abha down. I absolutely love it. So, what is it that we need to, what's the needs, the whys, the wants, the desires that we really need to create a new space for women? I mean, how can someone like you and I collaborate together and really pull these women in to create this space for women? Because I hear 500 people, these women are like, I don't know where to turn to. I don't know who to ask.
Yeah, so Kim, I think what we can do right now, what I see as a good thing happening around here is that a lot of people are coming up with groups or some kind of coming together where women can meet and talk to each other. However, barring a couple of them which are really sort of systemized or helping in a proper way, the rest of them are pretty loose-ended. So I think what we could do together, what I think we can do together, we live in two different, opposite sides of the world. However, there is a possibility now, thanks to technology and everything else that's happening around us, to create something which people can access in terms of resource, if not even resource, mentorship, if not mentorship, an incubation center where people can come in and ask the questions that they need to ask. The need at this point of time, number one, I can clearly see two or three sitting over there which need to be addressed. One is the personal need of women sorting themselves out, which I think there are very smart people out there. But again, like I mentioned earlier, we live in circumstances which are weighed against us in some ways, and we do get bogged down by that. So that needs to be sorted first. Number two, people who are either working, and their needs are totally different, their wants are totally different. What they need to work on in terms of their own personal needs also is very different. So that needs to be answered. And the third one is clearly women who are now wanting to get out there and start a business, or want to collaborate on a business, or find partners, or find money, or find ways to expand that business. So I think it's opened up hugely. And the fourth, right on top of that, would be the leadership space, where I think the time has come for women who can and who are in a position to sort of consolidate this scattered things that are happening around, and create a consortium of sorts where you can get the same thing, get all the things in the same place. Sorry, so you can get a lot of information, resource, and a number of people who can help you, and create a kind of culture over there. So I'm very keen on creating a culture for women. But I think we cut out from the culture that we live in our societies, and bring in a new culture completely, which is like our kind of culture. I want to do it this way, kind of thing. So it's going to be a little bit like a rebel. Okay, I don't like this, I'm going to do it this way. But I think that's going to work for a lot of women, because we do not have an alternative way of being. We always have had this way of being, or that. So this is right and this is wrong. So if I cut all that out and say, okay, we create our own culture, let's see how we're going to do that. That's what I think we should begin to collaborate on.
Yeah, you're right. We do need to create a culture. We do need to create the culture that women can step into and feel safe, feel sacred, feel non-judged, and none of the stuff where we start taking down another woman. Because, Abha, I say this all the time. I say this to my husband. I say, I wake up in the morning and I grab my cup of coffee. I still see dinosaurs walking across my front yard, because one woman that takes another woman down, none of us have arrived, and it keeps us very prehistoric. And I admire how men can walk into a meeting and really hash things out and come to disagreements to agree, and really hash it out, maybe get to solutions, maybe not, because maybe it takes a couple more meetings. They can walk out of that room, go down the street, and hit cocktail hour and put things to rest. We're women, and I know this is a very positive side of all of us women. We carry that emotion, and I think women need to also learn how to be firm and factual, the double F's, I call it, in business, and not have to worry about, I sound like a bitch, or I'm being a bitch. You got to get over that, because quite frankly, here, a bitch is a four-legged female dog. We are not four-legged female dogs. Get past that, please, because it holds us back. It holds us back. Before I jump into a couple of my other questions here, Abha, I know that, throughout this conversation here in this interview, but can you just really just share a moment here? Really, seriously, how difficult was it for you to come out of 1.25 billion people to start the motivational industry in India? I mean, you had a lot of odds working against you, girl.
Absolutely, Kim. It wasn't easy at all. However, when I started out, it was like it was like, I'm going to do this. And when I go back into India, people are just going to lap me up and say, wow, look at this woman. Look at what she's done. And you know what? They just smashed me, because it was so competitive. And as a woman, you're not supposed to tell. You cannot be knowing more than a man. You cannot lead. What good are you? Who's going to listen to you? And you name it. And I was shattered. I said, what did I do? But then I said, no, I think I heard my voice, and let's see how we go ahead with this. So for 2.5 years, zero acceptance, literally thrown out of 125 offices, ridiculed, almost people try to threaten me, intimidate me, say, oh, she's trying to wake up people kind of thing. And then finally, after 2.5 years, 2.5 years, I went and taught for free. I said, this works. And, you have to see how it works. So I had to just work for no money for 2.5 to 3 years and waiting for people to accept that, this is something that's useful for all of us, because I wasn't looking at it as a business at that point of time. I just felt that this is so needed. Developing people is one of the best things another person can do. I always believe the best drug for one human being is another human being. And I was in that state where I felt, oh my God, I'm going to just spread myself out helping people. But I got so badly beaten down. But I didn't give up. And I said, okay, so be it. So we worked for free for 2.5 to 3 years. And eventually, then I suddenly see the big wigs picking it up and trying to do it themselves. And they messed up big time because they didn't know they didn't understand. There has to be a core feeling inside it which says, this is why we are doing it. If you just go pick it up and say, oh, I can be a coach. I think everybody is a coach. Everybody can speak. Everybody can do a lot of other stuff. However, this means a little bit bigger than that. It's not just that. So 3 years down, it's one of the biggest newspapers in the country recognized our work and what we were doing as something absolutely out of this world. And that's when it took off. And a lot of the other bigwigs just sort of saw it and then said, oh my God, if she can do it, so can we. And they put in a lot of money. Millions of dollars went into it. They screwed up nice and big. And after that, they failed, but then it opened the space for a lot of other people who were looking for probably who realized, who could relate to this, and they said, okay, I can do this. And then this whole process started of foreign companies coming into the country, training people, and people getting training from outside, bringing it back to India. So that's how it all started. It was not very easy, but I am a tough nut to crack. So I was as determined as all the 1.25 billion people.
I love that you said, you worked for 2.5, almost 3 years without getting paid. And that is the average, the standard, the average that when starting a business and getting out there, whether it's a movement or something, is we don't get paid. That's why, I see this stuff on Facebook and stuff, Abha, 6 figures in 90 days. First of all, what in the hell is 6 figures anyways? Okay, well, it's 6 figures of money, right? But, left pocket, right pocket, we don't get those 6 figures. We've got taxes to pay. We've got teams to pay. You've got, there's more to it than just that. And the other day, this weekend, we just had a couple weeks ago, a holiday weekend here in the States. I was out walking Grace and I ran into this woman that has had a store in the city. We have a little downtown area where there's a lot of stores and restaurants. And I ran into her and I said, oh my gosh, congratulations. You've opened up a second store in downtown Detroit. And she goes, yeah, things are going well. And she goes to my husband, we opened up another store over here. And then we just opened up another location inside of a health club. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that those other last 2 stores. She goes, yeah. She goes, and let me tell you, she goes, 20 years into it, she goes, there are still days where I cannot pay myself. She goes, we're not dying here. She goes, but as a business owner, there are days I cannot take money out for myself. She goes, we've, been in business for a long time. They've weathered, economic storms and things like that. She goes, that's what these women don't understand. They just see the glitziness of this brick and mortar, the glitziness of Abha, who is beautiful, traveling around and doing these movements. They see the glitziness of Oprah. Well, Oprah had very humble beginnings, and as far as Oprah is now, she's still having some humbleness going on right now in her career. So it's that glitziness,
I know. I think everybody, I know a lot of people, even now, because this has taken me a good 15 years to be where I am today. 5 years of re-educating and, 4 years of re-educating, then working for 3 years without any money, putting my feet into it, making lots and lots of mistakes, sticking to it. sometimes putting my own money into it, and sometimes, it frustrating and feeling, did I make a mistake, and all those things, when it's 15 long years for being where I am today. And still I get people, people come to me and say, oh, she can do it, I can do it. So I always wish them well, and I said, please go ahead, give it a try, and I wish you all the best, do better than I have. So I'll be very happy. And so I like this kind of attitude. Is I feel people don't understand, and especially, and not just women, came over here, men as well.
Yes.
It's just so easy to look at, but it's not as easy to do. And people who have the courage and the determination and the grit to go through the grind and to spend that time on it, and it needs patience. It's frustrating at times. It can be depressing at times. It can be totally failed at times. But still, you got to get up every morning, and even if you're not feeling so great, you can give yourself a day off, but then you will get up one more time and do it. So that's where I think a lot of women give up. Men are still, because they have to, they are supposed to be breadwinners, they still go out the next morning. But it takes time, effort. It takes a lot of mental strength to be going through this kind of grind,
Yes.
and it takes time to go through this whole thing and be visible in the way you're visible today. I've spent days, some days, sitting inside my room wondering what, and working, and then 99% done, and then it goes bomb, so it's like gone forever. And I'm like, I've spent an year on something, and I see it's gone, and then you get up one more time and you say, no, this is because we started out for a reason. We got to go out and do it. So I think that kind of determination is needed. We need to build a lot of mental strength. We need to build, I always say, I mean, a mental freedom movement kind of thing, or a mental, you need to have a lot of mind for this. You need to be really tough. And that toughness doesn't come because you're born with it. That toughness comes because you go through it. And every step of the way, you get up and say, oh, okay, now this is where, okay, this is 40% was okay, 60% I screwed up. So now, okay, let me work on the 60%, get up one more time. And it can be a long process for some people. And but still, that's the way you look at it. Otherwise, it's always easier to give up.
You're right. And, just because, you're a year or 2 years into something and you're tired, like you said, take a day off, decompress, or things aren't working. It's okay to go back to that drawing board. And it's like almost like playing a chess game and move the pieces around, and so that things are going in a different direction. It's okay to do that. I hear people say, oh, I just need to stop to start over. No, don't stop to start over, but maybe take 3 steps back so you can go 10 forward. It's okay to take that treadmill and slow it down a little bit to get the muscles in the legs stronger so that you can speed up to get to running, or, to get to that marathon or whatever that is. It's okay to do that, as opposed to, like you said, just pull the covers up over the head and give up. And I see so many women just give up. All right, so here's I got a couple of questions before we swing back around and give out your connections and how people can get in touch with you again, Abha. So no thinking of these questions. I right from the heart, girlfriend, right from the heart. Okay.
All right. Okay. I'm ready.
Yes, I know you're ready. So what we measure determines our success. So how do you measure your success?
Kim, I go through a monthly sort of check on myself to see what I started with and where I finished. So I always put a percentage. I put a scale over there on myself, and I'm very harsh with myself in the sense I don't beat myself down, but harsh in terms of results, because a lot of activity without results is foolish. And I believe that we have to be result-oriented, outcome-oriented as compared to activity-oriented. So we measure based on what we started out with, and then I go up and say, okay, this is where we reach. Sometimes it is not money alone that we measure. We also measure the number of things that we have done that we started out with, and because sometimes it's only the process. Okay, did we complete the process? Now we can move to next step. So if we are able to move to level next, I believe we have succeeded.
Yeah, it's just not about the amount of money that's coming into the bank account for that success. I'm right there with you. There's other dynamics involved into that word success. So,
Right.
what has been your most largest challenge? And boy, you've had a lot of large challenges presented to you that you have? It could be most recent. You could go back when you first started, with leaving law, practicing law, to date that you have turned in. I can't even believe I'm asking you this question because I really feel this into you. I can really get this from you. So what has been your largest challenge to date that you have turned into a phenomenal opportunity?
For me, the largest challenge, because from the beginning of my life, I never felt cowed down because I was a girl, number one. So that was not something I thought would be a challenge, but it did become a challenge the moment I got out. I had to face the real world and say, okay, if you're a woman, the rules are very different for you. And if you're trying to do something new, something different, something that a lot of people, because this was a male dominated industry. We had only two men in India who came from the US, Deepak Chopra and Shiv Khera, who were doing this. I was the third person to start off with this. And so that's the first time I actually realized and had to accept, not humbly, but very angrily, that it worked against me to be a woman. But I did not let that sort of dampen my spirit in any way whatsoever. Then I kept on moving. So I used my other strengths to beat that part of being a woman. Because I could not have changed that. Second big challenge that came was that it was extremely difficult in the beginning to raise money for what you're doing, because there's so many questions about whether you will be able to, and that's where it stopped.
Yeah.
Able to, I mean, they don't even further ask you anything further. They don't see what you're talking about. And this was the second challenge. The third challenge was the space for women, in the sense that if you're out there, and I don't know how much of that happens in the West, because I've heard some stories there, but it's still a lot more open society. In my side of the world, whenever you got out there to do something, people thought either my husband was unemployed or I was available for sex.
Good.
And that made it very difficult for me to sort of go and seek help from people, because if the businessmen are men, and if you go and pitch an idea for raising money or for a partnership, first thing that you had to face was, okay, she is kind of available or something, or is my husband unemployed? Are you in need of something? Why are you doing this? Why do you need to do this? So it was extremely difficult for me to explain to people that, I have a purpose behind this. There's a calling thing that's happening over here. I'm not stupid that I have to come out here and put my neck out and get beaten up and get thrown out of offices and get ridiculed or get rejected or get my husband judged. None of those things were true. But these are the kind of things that made me, that pissed me off at that point of time. But I learned to deal with it over a period. So these were the challenges. The last bit that I really feel, because I love to work from home, I did not want to leave my kids alone. So initially I was a little bit all over the place. But then I learned to manage my time well. I learned to spend my time with my kids in a different way, and how we were dealing with it. My only support was my husband at one point. And when I left law, he was the only one man who said, fine, if you think it's right for you, I'm there, so go give it a try, kind of thing. So he was the only person who stood with me, and I had nobody else helping me at that point of time. So these were a couple of things that I faced. And the last thing that I faced was what you mentioned in the middle of the interview, that when women try to bring women down, it's disheartening. It pains, it pains, because I really, I think women fight with other women because of the kind of things they live with men, because to please their men, they can beat another woman.
Yeah.
Or something of that sort, or their whole emotional state is still insecure. They don't see things in perspective, or they are not able to see a big picture. They see women as a threat rather than as a support system. So that was one of the big letdowns that I faced when I began to work. That I saw there were women bringing down women, and sometimes they would just stand behind the men, and you wouldn't even know who's doing it. So a lot of experience there. So these are the things that I faced on the way, but it was real. And the rest of it was not challenging, but the challenge was that it was a lot of hard work. It was a lot of determination, standing up, sometimes fighting for what's right. Fighting with people who want to bring you down, and then people attacking you for something or the other. So those kind of things were stupid, but they existed, and I had to deal with all of those.
It is. It really is crazy. No matter what direction we go in, whether you would have stayed in law, not that I have a glass ball here, Abba, whether you stayed in law, you would have came
It
across
was the
some of
same
this
thing there.
stuff.
It
Yeah,
was the same.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
the same thing there.
yeah.
Here, it was even worse because in law, at least you were like you had a limited number of people or a community which was dealing with, but the same kind of human emotions or human insecurities or human the downsides, came up over there as well. Once I went out alone doing this, I was all by myself, and it was crazy because then you got to deal with it all by yourself. And some days I used to come home and cry, and my husband would say, now what happened? So I said, now this, and he said, okay, listen. If you got to do this, there's no way we can't. We have to start dealing with these things. And I would be. I'm like a warrior. So I would sort of take it upon myself, and I'd go and I say, if I had my way, I'd just punch some faces. But that didn't happen so far. So
Yeah.
I didn't do the punching bit. But you feel like that, feel like you punch a couple of
Yes.
faces and you'll feel better. So yeah, it happened then, and I think anywhere you are. As long as human beings are there, this folly is going to be there. We got to learn how to deal with it. That's it.
Yeah. You're right. You're very. It doesn't matter what direction that we are going in. We're always going to have something like that. And you just said something very priceless to me that I heard you say is you had children at home, and it was a matter of learning how to manage your time. And when the time feels like it's eating us alive, which is our normal society, if you ask me to this day, people are not managing their time. Everyone's saying a whole lot of yeses and a whole heck of no no's. Very little no's. The time grasps us up. So then we have life controlling us as opposed to us managing life. Did you ever, in the process of all of that, ever once feel like giving up?
No, never. Never, because I think this is the good thing that I sometimes, when I look back into these 15 years, I feel very strongly about what I'm doing. So come what may, come rain, come snow, I've had the audacity, if I can call it very humbly. I was audacious. I was like I would challenge myself every time, and I said I'm not going to give up. Not, I mean, because a lot of people say, this is not going to work. What have you ever seen? I mean, I know people who have come and told me if I would go and speak, and I had to put, even if I had to put my picture on the brochures that we normally make as speakers, right? Somebody came and told me, have you ever seen your face? So I said, yeah, I have. And what's your problem with it? So, people have been really nasty. And I found that nasty has become this new smarts, right? Everybody wants to be this. So I realize it's a trap. People want to belittle you in some way or the other because they can't handle what you're doing. And to that extent, and I really, because the best thing that I did, I think, was that family was always priority. And I have had the good if I can say good thought, to make sure that end is always managed well, people are happy, husband is happy, children are happy. And I gave up a lot of stuff just to make sure that part of the dynamic is always happy. And I remember when my daughter was born, and I was pregnant when I began to study. I was pregnant at that point of time with my second child, my daughter, and she was. When I used to feed her, and I knew I would clean her, feed her, and put her to sleep, and she'd be sleeping for 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours before her next feed. So I would work for 3 or 4 hours during that time. So my husband used to say, you work too hard, don't let it be. I mean, rest for a while. I said, no, I don't want to waste my time because I know she's going to sleep. And once she gets up, I got to be 100% there. So I used to work around things like that. I don't watch TV. I do not have a lot of social. I had to give up a lot of my social activities. I had to give up a lot of, fancy friends or these women gossip sessions business, which used to happen earlier, and going out and stuff like that, so that I could manage my time better. So this is one of the good things that I did. So never quitting. Quitting was not the idea. It only got better with time. It only became more challenging. Every time you did one good thing, one thing up, and you'll have 10 people standing next to you say, you can do this, I can do this too. So I would think, oh my God, I thought, I was just doing okay. And suddenly you see a lot of other stuff is going on. So it just keeps pushing you forward. So quitting has never been on the mind. No.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, so we're at the end of the show here. So one more time, Abha, please let everybody know how they can get in touch with you.
Yes, Kim, everybody who's listening, first of all, thank you very much for being there and listening to what we're talking about here. Kim, thank you one more time for having me. It is fun talking to you. So you can reach me at abhamb.com. That is Alpha Bravo Hungry Alpha Mama Bravo.com. That's my website. Or see my other website, that is breakoutwithabha.tv. That's my web series on leadership, where Kim is also there. You can watch her interview there. So it's breakout, breakoutwithabha.tv. If you can't find me on any of these, just Google my name. It's Abha Banerjee, ABHABANERJEE, and you'll find me there. So I look forward to connecting and meeting with a lot of people from here.
Yeah, absolutely. And real quickly, just one more last remaining word or words, Abha, can you leave with these bold biz chats for these amazing women out there? Just one word or multiple words, real quickly.
For every woman who's listening, life is one of the biggest gifts that we can have. Make the best of it. Just one lifetime. So I call it a jolt. Just one lifetime is JOLT. It's a jolt. If you remember this word, that it's just one lifetime. Either we make it this time or we don't make it. So make sure that you make it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Abha, for being here with me today. I just so appreciate that. I can't wait to get off air and for you and I to really, as I call it, caramelize our relationship even more, because we have nothing but the future here in front of us. So, Abha, thank you again. I so appreciate, and I'm in awe of you, and you deserve such happiness and success for all the steps and pavements you have had to pound along the way. And so thank you for leading that for all of us women and laying that ground down for us. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you. I'm grateful for the place I'm in, and thank you so much. You're doing great work yourself. So let us go out there, make some noise, make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody get out there and make it a great day, and, step into that boldness of yourself and that leadership of yourself. Become that CEO that you so truly, truly desire. Live it on your terms, live it on your definition, whatever that success is, whatever that dream is, do it on your terms. Stop comparing. We've all been there. Reach out to Abha, reach out to myself, reach out and gather around other like-minded individuals. So get out there, make it another great day. I will hear you and see you all right back here, same time, same place next week. Make it a good one. Thank you.
Thanks for joining yet another Real Life Chats with Kim. Come on back next week, same place and time, where the boldest of bolds share their truths.